Hello, I am Dr. Randall Bell, and I'm here with Jill Pillsbury to talk about core IQ, the skills we all need, but we're not always taught in school. Things like goal setting, time management, etiquette, the list goes on and on. That's what we're here to do, is build core IQ to give us the skill sets we need to really thrive. And speaking of thriving, Jill, we're going to talk about a very cool topic called thriving behaviors.
I love it.
Now, let me just kind of lay out this whole framework. And we're not going to cover the whole thing because, frankly, this page is designed to be self-explanatory. But I've seen people pick it up and literally spend hours going through it. I mean, I've seen it, and it has that kind of power. But here's the framework. There's me, we, do, be. Now, no secret, I wrote a book called Me, We, Do, Be. And me is our mindset. We is relationships with other people. Do is, our to-do list, taking care of ourselves physically, taking care of our money, taking care of our space. And then B is what we're becoming. It's kind of our goals for the future. And the nice thing about Me, We, Do, Be is that it covers every possible topic.
Right.
And that may sound like oversell, but I've studied this pretty carefully. I'm pretty confident about that. And within each category of Me, We, Do, Be, basically there's good and there's bad. There's toxic behaviors and there's thriving behaviors. And so with those 8 quadrants, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, we basically covered, the key aspects of life.
Right.
So let's start with me. And why don't we start negative and then shift to positive? Because I like to end on a positive high note. Does that sound okay?
Great. It sounds great. I just wanted to jump in and add one thing. After reading your book, Randy, and looking at this particular skill, I just wanted to add that I think as we go through these, or you go through them on your own, you'll start to see how all of these different cornerstones, Me, We, Do, Be, are related. What we do for me oftentimes affects our do or our be.
Yeah.
So I think that, again, just working through it, that's an interesting thing to be aware of.
Yeah, it's like 4 cornerstones of a building, or 4 legs of a chair, and if one's missing, you topple over.
Right.
Like this morning, exercise I did do, but mentally I'm more awake and more alert now.
Right.
So there is an interrelationship. I'm glad you pointed that out.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Me cornerstone again is our mindset. There's all kinds of things we can do to get into a mental funk or depression or downer, negative thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's a whole list here, but anything kind of pop out to you here on this list?
I guess I would just kind of want to add and highlight really that the big picture here is that these toxic behaviors, pessimism, being cynical, too sarcastic, a know-it-all, watching too much TV, really lead to the big distraction as you have highlighted here. And I think a lot of distraction can come from being overstressed, which creates anxiety. And I know all of us in today's world are stressed on some level for some reason. So I think being aware of the toxic behaviors and really looking at and reflecting on how you can change them to a thriving behavior is important.
One rule of life is it's always easier to deconstruct something than to construct something.
Right.
So this is kind of gravity. This is negative stuff, and the list is there. We all know about it. But let's shift over to the positive side. There's all kinds of things that we can do to kind of fight that gravity, take our heads that might be, in a negative space and do something positive. I mean, takes time to think or just be reflective. My cardiologist recently prescribed that I meditate. I mean, these are things that really kind of improve the brain.
Right. And I think that a lot of it, really what we do, just if we can take time to stop and think, is so critical. I know there's a little game that you can play with yourself, and I've used it with my kids sometimes when they start getting overly stressed and distracted, and it's a stop sign model, basically, that in your mind, stop and visualize a stop sign. And what does that mean? That gets you to stop and be present rather than continuing to go down a negative, toxic kind of behavior.
Dr. Covey talks about, hey, between a stimulus and a reaction is a moment.
Yeah.
And that moment, like you just said, you can be calling a stop or a timeout.
Yeah.
And really kind of being aware of that split second between the stimulus and the reaction and realizing you have control over it.
Yes.
And it can either go negative or it can go positive.
Right. And then be purposeful. After you stop, change that behavior and replace it mindfully with something else. Oh, I'm going to just sit down and watch TV because I don't want to deal with anything that I have going on. Okay, stop. What can I do instead of sitting down and watching TV?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go for a walk. Maybe I'll pick up a book. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll call a friend.
Yeah. And another one, we're not going to go through all of them, but one that pops out for me is taking notes. A lot of times I'm asked to give lectures or speeches, and I look out in the audience and I see maybe 5 or 10% taking notes. I mean, because occasionally I'll say something of value, and most of the time probably not, but people are ready just in case I actually do say something of value, something that kind of resonates. But those who take notes excel in business and life. Yeah. And those who just kind of listen to it, I mean, some people in the audience are trying to change the channel, and I'm not going anywhere. Yeah. But taking notes, and there's a whole list of great kind of things here. Again, it's kind of self-explanatory, but there's a lot of science behind this research. So I just want to kind of point that out.
Yeah, great.
So we ready to move on to we?
Sure.
So you kind of mentioned the interrelationships. If our me is solid, we're going to send out a vibe and we're going to attract better people into our sphere of influence.
Right.
So in terms of negative, I mean, toxic people, I mean, that's like falling out of a tree to figure that out. But people who are materialistic or selfish or shallow or pessimistic, I mean, anything here that pops out?
Right. No, I mean, those are all negative, toxic behaviors. But I think the point of this is to create a skill that allows you to think of yourself and really assess yourself and figure out how you're going to be your best person. So it's not even that we're putting this toxic behavior onto other people, but this really is a tool to look at how to live a more purposeful, fulfilling, balanced life ourselves. So to look at our own selves and say, gosh, have I been pushy? Have I been in a rush? And, do I have a bitter attitude when I'm out in the public? So to kind of self-reflect on that and replace with loving people, a good etiquette, elevate your spirit, spice it up, but to really use this skill and this worksheet as a tool for your own self.
Yeah, being aware of toxic people and trying to kind of spend more time with people that are kind of on the same path of positive, good stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so do is productivity. That's taking care of our health, taking care of our space. Like for a student, it's your desk where you study. For work, it's your office or whatever. It's taking care, it's kind of our to-do list. Some people are kind of in the pathetic, toxic mode where they have clutter or they don't manage their finances. There's episodes in Core IQ for all these kinds of things, cleaning up your clutter, getting your personal finances in line. So big picture. And then there's some nice productive things, anything that kind of stands out in the productive realm?
I mean, all of them, they're all so important, but, some that are so easy, abusing alcohol, eating junk food, being sleep deprived. I mean, they're all a little bit interconnected, right? Yeah. And easily replaced with a me, get some exercise, or a we, go for a walk with a friend, or take up a new hobby. So again, the list is for you to use and peruse and can kind of replace these toxic behaviors and do something about it that feels productive.
Okay, so go through the whole list, kind of see what speaks to you. And then finally, be is what we're becoming. I mean, I often say when I'm giving speeches that me, we, and do, the animal kingdom thinks. The animal kingdom has their groups and their herds and their schools of fish. They have relationships with other animals. And do, they're productive. They look for food and they build their nests or their dens and that kind of thing. But what sets humans apart from the animal kingdom is the bee cornerstone, because I guarantee the animals at San Diego Zoo are doing the same thing today as they were doing when I was a kid in kindergarten. My parents first took me down there. But on the other hand, in just 66 years, we went from flying the first time with the Wright brothers to landing on the moon, in 1969. So, humans are always kind of pushing the envelope and improving and improving and improving. Now, there's some things we can do here on the negative side. You can kind of read through them. The negative is negative. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. But on the positive side, like setting written goals, managing your time, the stuff we talk about at Core IQ. Anything else here, Jill?
One of my favorites is hobbies and music. I love this one because I think for any age, any demographic, any person, that's just a great positive. And I feel like it hits the me, it hits the we, it hits the do. Sign up for a new class. Challenge yourself to take up a new hobby, sailing, reading, drawing, music, an exercise program. So I love that one. And I think it resonates across a lot of your cornerstones.
Yeah, absolutely. And the B cornerstone, I mean, just about 6 weeks ago, maybe 8 weeks, my cardiologist told me, you got to start running, and I'm going to tell you got to run 10 minutes a day. Well, frankly, I've been doing long walks, but she says, no, that doesn't cut it. You got to run. And I kind of frankly forgotten how to run. So I'm running like 10 minutes. This morning, I ran 5 miles. Yesterday I ran 5 miles. The day before I ran 5 miles. So I'm trying to constantly up the game too.
Right.
I mean, we all are. This is not something like I got it figured out, Jill's got it figured out, and we're telling you what to do. We're all in this thing together. And this applies to everybody in terms of constantly trying to improve and just take it to a new level.
Yeah, exactly. And congrats on your running.
So thanks for watching. Make sure you like Core IQ, share it, talk about it. You know, spend some time with the sheet and kind of circle the things that really kind of resonate with you because it's all about you. It's all about kind of improvement and making some adjustments to build that solid foundation we all want. So we'll see you on the next episode.